Welcome back. The Lincoln wheat cent may look like an ordinary pocket coin, but its story is anything but ordinary. Born during one of America's most dramatic moments in history, this small piece of bronze hides remarkable secrets that collectors still search for today. Stay with us as we uncover what makes certain examples stand out, how experts identify the most desirable survivors, and why this iconic coin continues to fascinate collectors around the world. First coin. At first glance, the 1941 Lincoln wheat cent struck in Philadelphia without a mint mark appears to be one of the most familiar coins ever produced by the United States Mint, a humble bronze cent that countless Americans once carried in their pockets without a second thought. Yet beneath its ordinary appearance lies a fascinating story that has kept collectors searching through old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten bank rolls for decades. Every detail, from the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait to the texture of the wheat ears on the reverse, can dramatically influence how specialists evaluate the coin today. Even more intriguing, authenticated examples of this seemingly common cent have realized surprisingly strong prices under the right circumstances, though only after experts confirmed their originality, condition, and quality. As this story unfolds, you'll discover what factors separate an everyday circulated example from a truly desirable collectible, why certain pieces have commanded remarkable auction results, and how grading, rarity, and preservation ultimately determine what a genuine 1941 Philadelphia wheat cent may be worth. The year 1941 marked a pivotal moment in American history. The nation was gradually emerging from the hardships of the Great Depression while simultaneously preparing for an uncertain future as global conflict spread across Europe and Asia. Although the United States would not officially enter World War II until after the attack on Pearl Harbor in December of that year, industrial production had already accelerated to support Allied nations through programs such as Lend-Lease. During this period, the Philadelphia Mint operated at an extraordinary pace to satisfy the country's growing demand for circulating coinage. Since Philadelphia served as the original United States Mint, coins produced there traditionally carried no mint mark, making the absence of a mint mark on a 1941 Lincoln cent entirely correct. More than 887 million examples were struck in Philadelphia alone, making it one of the largest mintages of the Lincoln wheat series. Despite this enormous production, relatively few survive today in pristine condition because the overwhelming majority entered circulation immediately, where decades of everyday commerce gradually wore away their original mint luster. The coin itself reflects a design that had already become one of the most recognizable images in American numismatic history. The obverse features the right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Brenner's initials, VDB, appear discreetly at the base of Lincoln's shoulder after being restored to the design in 1918. Surrounding the portrait are the familiar inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1941 to the right. The reverse displays two graceful wheat ears framing the inscriptions "1 cent" and "United States of America," with EPLUBUSUNUM arching across the top. Struck in an alloy consisting primarily of 95% copper with the balance tin and zinc, the coin weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and features a plain edge. The warm reddish appearance of freshly minted bronze gradually changes over time as the metal naturally oxidizes, making original color one of the most important characteristics that collectors examine when evaluating surviving examples. Although millions of these cents circulated for generations, collector demand centers on examples that escaped heavy wear and retained their original surfaces. Professional grading services classify bronze Lincoln cents according to both numerical grade and color designation, creating three primary categories known as brown, red-brown, and red. Brown coins have fully toned surfaces. Red-brown pieces retain a mixture of original mint color and natural toning, while fully red examples preserve nearly all of their original copper brilliance. A Mint State 63 brown specimen may appeal primarily to budget-conscious collectors, but a certified Mint State 66 red example becomes significantly more desirable because maintaining vivid original color for more than 8 decades is remarkably difficult. Strike quality also matters considerably. Collectors look for sharply defined wheat lines, crisp lettering, complete details in Lincoln's beard and hair, and strong separation throughout the design. Weakly struck coins, even with minimal wear, generally command less enthusiasm than sharply struck examples with exceptional eye appeal. When collector value enters the conversation, condition quickly becomes the defining factor. A typical circulated 1941 Philadelphia wheat cent remains an affordable piece of American history, but exceptional certified examples can occupy an entirely different market. A professionally authenticated Mint State 66 red coin may bring around $1,250 under favorable market conditions, while a beautifully preserved Mint State 67 red example with outstanding eye appeal has the potential to reach approximately $3,400 when two determined collectors compete at auction. Extraordinary auction records exceeding those figures have been achieved only by verified finest known specimens, remarkable registry quality examples, or coins possessing exceptional characteristics that place them among the very best surviving pieces. Those headline-grabbing results should never be interpreted as representative of every 1941 cent without a mint mark. Authentication by respected grading companies, overall preservation, originality of surfaces, color, strike quality, and current collector demand all play critical roles in determining actual market value for any individual coin. Beyond condition alone, specialists remain alert for mint errors and die varieties that can transform an otherwise ordinary cent into a much more desirable collectible. During the high-speed production process at Philadelphia, dies occasionally developed cracks, chips, polishing lines, or areas of deterioration that transferred distinctive characteristics onto the coins they struck. Collectors also search for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, cuds, and dramatic die breaks that occurred during normal mint operations. While no famous major double die variety defines the standard 1941 Philadelphia issue in the same way as certain other Lincoln cents, legitimate errors authenticated by experienced professionals can command substantial premiums depending on their visibility and rarity. Counterfeit awareness is equally important because altered dates, artificially enhanced surfaces, and deceptive recoloring techniques occasionally appear in the marketplace. Experts examine the precise shape of the numerals, the texture of the fields, the consistency of the metal, the natural progression of tunning, and the coin's weight and dimensions before reaching conclusions about authenticity. Whenever a potentially valuable example is discovered, professional grading remains one of the safest ways to establish confidence for both owners and future buyers. The survival rate of high-grade 1941 Philadelphia cents illustrates why certified examples continue attracting serious collectors despite the enormous original mintage. Most coins entered circulation almost immediately after striking, spending years passing through cash registers, vending machines, banks, and countless daily transactions before eventually disappearing into jars, drawers, or melting programs. Those that remained in government storage or private collections often developed fingerprints, carbon spots, environmental discoloration, or contact marks from improper handling. Even seemingly minor imperfections can significantly reduce desirability at the highest grading levels because registry-set collectors compete for coins exhibiting exceptional originality. Proper preservation, therefore, becomes essential. Numismatists recommend handling cents only by their edges, avoiding cleaning under any circumstances, and storing them in inert archival quality holders that protect against moisture, contaminants, and rapid temperature changes. Cleaning may temporarily create a brighter appearance, but it permanently alters the original surfaces, often resulting in a details grade that substantially reduces collector appeal and long-term market value. Natural agging, accompanied by undisturbed surfaces, is almost always preferred over artificially improved appearance. Today, the 1941 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent occupies a fascinating place within American numismatics because it bridges accessibility and serious collecting. Beginners can easily appreciate its historical connection to a nation standing on the threshold of World War II, while advanced specialists pursue elite certified examples displaying extraordinary color, strike, and preservation. Every authenticated coin tells a slightly different story through its surfaces, whether it quietly circulated during wartime America or remained tucked away in an old collection for generations. The market continues rewarding originality rather than exaggerated claims, reminding collectors that rarity is created not merely by mintage figures, but by the number of superior examples that have survived untouched. That is why two coins bearing the identical date and lacking a mint mark can differ dramatically in desirability and value. Professional authentication, careful grading, and informed evaluation remain the foundation of responsible collecting, ensuring that each 1941 Lincoln wheat cent is appreciated not for unrealistic expectations, but for its genuine place in American history and its enduring appeal within one of the world's most widely collected coin series. Next coin. Few American coins illustrate the unexpected twists of history, quite like the 1944 Lincoln wheat cent struck in Philadelphia, identified by the complete absence of a mint mark beneath the date. At first glance, it resembles countless other wheat cents that circulated through American pockets, cash registers, and wartime factories, yet collectors know that this particular issue deserves a far closer look. It emerged during one of the most extraordinary periods in United States history, when the nation's economy, industries, and even its coinage were shaped by the demands of World War II. Although millions were produced, only a tiny fraction have survived in truly exceptional condition, and those elite examples continue to attract intense interest from advanced collectors. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear why this seemingly ordinary bronze cent has earned a respected place in the numismatic world, what characteristics specialists examine before assigning collector value, and why authenticated examples have achieved remarkable results that depend entirely on preservation, originality, rarity, and professional certification rather than the date alone. By 1944, the United States had fully committed its industrial strength to the Allied war effort. Factories that had once manufactured automobiles, household appliances, and consumer goods were now producing tanks, aircraft, ships, ammunition, and military equipment at an astonishing pace. Copper remained an essential strategic metal, and the famous steel cents issued in 1943 had been a direct response to wartime shortages. However, public dissatisfaction with the zinc-coated steel cents quickly became apparent because they rusted easily, resembled dimes in circulation, and often caused confusion in everyday transactions. To solve those problems without placing additional pressure on wartime copper supplies, the United States Mint adopted an ingenious solution for 1944. Instead of returning to newly mined copper, officials used brass recovered from spent military shell casings. Those recycled cartridge cases were refined and transformed into planchets for the new cents, giving the 1944 issue an extraordinary historical connection to the war itself. Philadelphia, the nation's oldest minting facility, produced approximately 1.44 billion Lincoln cents that year, all bearing no mint mark, as was customary for Philadelphia circulation strikes during that era. The enormous production reflected the nation's expanding wartime economy and the tremendous demand for small change across rapidly growing industries. The physical characteristics of the coin reveal the continuity of a design that had already become deeply embedded in American culture. Victor David Brenner's portrait of Abraham Lincoln dominates the obverse, presenting the 16th president with remarkable dignity and realism. Above Lincoln appears the national motto "In God We Trust," while liberty rests to the left and the date 1944 occupies the right side. Brenner's restored initials, VDB, remain subtly positioned at the base of Lincoln's shoulder, a feature that many beginning collectors overlook. Turning the coin over reveals the classic wheat reverse that had represented the 1-cent denomination since 1909. Two elegantly detailed wheat ears frame the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America, while EPLUBUSUNUM arches gracefully above, symbolically. The wheat stalks celebrate America's agricultural strength, while Lincoln's portrait honors leadership, national unity, and perseverance. The coin measures 19.05 millimeters in diameter, weighs approximately 3.11 grams, carries a plain edge, and consists primarily of 95% copper, with the balance made up of zinc and tin, although the recycled wartime brass introduced slight compositional variations that remain of interest to metallurgical researchers and advanced numismatists. Because such an enormous number entered circulation immediately, most surviving 1944 Philadelphia cents display the evidence of everyday commerce. They passed through grocery stores, payroll envelopes, military bases, train stations, and neighborhood businesses during one of the busiest periods in American history. The examples that command serious collector attention today are those that somehow escaped decades of wear and retained their original mint surfaces. Professional grading services evaluate these coins according to the Sheldon numerical grading scale, while also assigning important color designations. Bronze cents are categorized as brown, red-brown, or red, depending on the amount of original mint color that remains. A fully brown coin may possess considerable historical appeal, but collectors pursuing registry-quality sets often compete aggressively for vibrant red examples because preserving original copper brilliance for more than 80 years is extraordinarily difficult. Specialists also examine strike sharpness, looking closely at Lincoln's hair, beard, bow tie, and coat details, along with the individual grain lines within the wheat ears. Even among mint state coins, stronger strikes combined with attractive luster and untouched surfaces consistently generate greater enthusiasm than softer strikes or pieces affected by excessive contact marks. Only after those grading factors are fully understood does the conversation naturally turn toward collector value. Authentication, originality, eye appeal, surface preservation, color, and overall rarity all influence what an individual coin may bring in today's marketplace. A certified mint state 66 red example with pleasing luster and minimal distractions may sell for around $1,180 under favorable market conditions, while a beautifully preserved mint state 67 red coin displaying exceptional eye appeal can realize approximately $3,150 when demand is particularly strong. Those figures represent coins that have been carefully examined and authenticated by respected third-party grading services rather than uncertified pieces offered without professional evaluation. Auction records extending well beyond those levels have indeed occurred, but those extraordinary results belong only to the finest known survivors, remarkable registry-quality specimens, or authenticated rarities possessing exceptional characteristics that separate them from ordinary mint state examples. Such sales should never be interpreted as typical values for every 1944 Philadelphia cent lacking a mint mark, because even subtle differences in quality can produce dramatic differences in market performance. Among the most fascinating aspects of this issue is the ongoing search for genuine mint errors and unusual varieties that emerged during production. Collectors regularly encounter die cracks, retained cuds, minor die chips, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and other legitimate mint-made anomalies that originated during the striking process. One of the most famous rarities associated with the year is the 1944 steel cent accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year's production. But those extremely rare coins represent an entirely separate category and are authenticated individually through extensive metallurgical testing and expert examination. They should never be confused with standard bronze Philadelphia cents. Likewise, altered coins exist in the marketplace, including copper-plated steel pieces, modified dates, and artificially recolored cents intended to deceive inexperienced buyers. Professional authenticators evaluate weight, magnetic response, metal composition, die characteristics, surface texture, and microscopic details before confirming whether a coin is genuine. Because advanced counterfeiting techniques have improved over time, Collectors increasingly rely on independent grading services to provide confidence when purchasing or selling higher-value examples. The remarkable survival of premium-quality 1944 Philadelphia cents owes much to careful storage and fortunate circumstances rather than sheer production numbers. Most coins accumulated countless small abrasions almost immediately after leaving mint bags, where heavy bronze cents repeatedly struck one another during transportation. Others developed carbon spots, fingerprints, or environmental discoloration after years in humid basements, attics, or improvised containers. Collectors who recognize the importance of preservation avoid cleaning under any circumstances because abrasive polishing or chemical treatments permanently alter original surfaces and usually reduce both collector confidence and market value. The safest approach involves handling coins only by their edges, storing them in inert archival quality holders, maintaining stable temperature and humidity levels, and minimizing unnecessary exposure to contaminants. Original mint luster, even when accompanied by natural age-related tunning, remains far more desirable than artificially brightened surfaces. These preservation principles explain why genuinely untouched high-grade examples become increasingly scarce as decades pass, and why advanced collectors willingly compete for coins that retain exceptional originality. Today, the 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent represents much more than a simple 1-cent coin from the wartime era. It embodies a remarkable intersection of American history, industrial innovation, patriotic resourcefulness, and enduring collector fascination. Every authenticated example carries a story that extends from recycled military shell casings to bustling wartime commerce and eventually into carefully assembled numismatic collections. Despite its massive original mintage, the finest survivors continue to command attention because true quality becomes progressively rarer with each passing generation. The coin reminds collectors that rarity is shaped not only by how many pieces were struck, but also by how few remain with outstanding color, sharp strikes, original surfaces, and unquestioned authenticity. For that reason, experienced numismatists evaluate each specimen individually rather than relying solely on the date. Professional grading, verified authenticity, preservation quality, and current collector demand remain the foundations upon which lasting value is built, ensuring that the 1944 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat cent continues to occupy a distinguished place within one of America's most beloved and actively collected coin series.